The jungle was hot, the jungle was green, it was way too easy to get lost. 4 friends, Mark, Sarah, David and Emily were finding that out the hard way.
I told you we should have followed the map.
Mark grumbled, swatting at a mosquito the size of his thumb.
This isn't on the map. We're lost.
Emily exclaimed, pushing a leafy vine out of her face. Panic edged into her voice, and David put a reassuring hand on her shoulder.
We'll find our way back,
he said, trying to sound brave. But even he felt a shiver of fear run down his spine. The jungle was alive with strange noises. The air hung heavy and still, the silence broken only by the rustle of unseen creatures. The smell of damp earth and rotting vegetation filled their nostrils, a constant reminder of the jungle's power. They were surrounded, swallowed by a green monster that seemed to watch their every move. "We need a fire," Sarah stated, her voice shaking slightly.
To keep animals away.
And, she thought with a shudder, anything else that might be lurking in the shadows. Finding dry wood in the damp jungle was a challenge, but fear was a powerful motivator. They gathered twigs and branches, their hands scratched by thorns. David, remembering a trick he'd seen on a survival show, managed to create sparks with his watch glass and some dry leaves. The tiny flame flickered, threatened by the humid air, but Emily shielded it with her jacket, her breath held tight, until it caught and grew, casting a warm glow against the encroaching darkness. The friends huddled close, drawing comfort from the crackling fire. But the jungle pressed in, a vast, unknowable presence beyond the small circle of light. The first sign of something truly wrong was the silence. The jungle noises, the chirps and buzzes and rustles had vanished. An unnatural stillness settled over the rainforest, pressing down on them like a weight.
Do you hear that?
Emily whispered, her eyes wide with fear. Mark strained his ears.
Hear what? There's nothing?
A pair of eyes, glowing red in the darkness, flashed beyond the firelight. Then a low growl, a sound that seemed to vibrate in their chests, sent shivers down their spines. The eyes blinked, moving closer, and the friends scrambled back, terror gripping their hearts.
What is that?
David hissed, grabbing a burning branch from the fire. The glowing eyes paused as if considering them. Then, with a swiftness that defied the darkness, a figure shot from the undergrowth. The creature was a blur of pale skin and dark clothing moving with unnatural speed. Before any of them could react, it snatched David, its long, sharp claws tearing through his shirt. David cried out as he was dragged back into the darkness, the firelight momentarily illuminating a face both beautiful and terrifyingly inhuman. Panic erupted. Emily screamed, scrambling back until her back hit a tree trunk. Mark grabbed a burning log from the fire, brandishing it like a weapon.
Get back!
He yelled, his voice cracking with fear, but the creature was gone, vanished back into the jungle as quickly as it had appeared. Only the echo of David's scream and the lingering scent of something stale and metallic remained, a testament to the horror they had just witnessed. They were no longer just lost in the jungle, they were being hunted. They didn't sleep that night, how could they? The image of the creature, with its glowing eyes and fangs bared in a cruel smile, was burned into their minds. The silence of the jungle was no longer peaceful, but filled with imagined sounds, each rustle of leaves a whispered threat. They huddled together, taking turns keeping the fire going, their faces pale and drawn in the flickering light. Every shadow seemed to hold the promise of the creature's return, every snapping twig a harbinger of their doom. Dawn brought little comfort. The jungle was still a labyrinth, their hope of finding the path fading with the morning mist. And then came Emily's terrified shriek, echoing through the trees, a scream that spoke of a horror they couldn't yet comprehend. Emily's terrified shriek echoed through the trees, a scream that spoke of a horror they couldn't yet comprehend.